Programs here in the Southland Conference. We'll begin with the Lions from Southeastern. Take a look at their quick notes coming in. Starters returning 12, 7 on the offensive side, 5 defensively. Last year, 4-7, 4-5 in the Southland. They're looking for bigger things coming up this year as well. The open against Jacksonville State, and then the conference opener will be September 21st when they open at home in Hammond against the Lamar Cardinals. All right, without further ado, pleasure to be joined here on stage at the Hilton Post Oak by the head football coach of Southeastern. Please welcome Frank Selfo with a few comments about his football team. Coach, I know you're excited for the new season.
We are. Thank you, Randy. I appreciate that. We are excited about it. Before we get to that, though, I want to thank Commissioner Tom Burnett and his staff here in the Southland Conference. You guys do a fantastic job selling our brand of football. And I think what people will soon recognize throughout the country is from top to bottom this conference how good it is, that all the teams in here. Last year was my first season in here, in this conference, and the competition each week between the coaches, the players, the universities was fantastic. I also want to thank Dr. John Crane, our president at Southeastern, and athletic director J.R. Teagues for providing me all the things that I need to go ahead and be successful and run a successful football program at Southeastern. They take care of our student athletes. It comes first. It comes first in their mind, on the field, in the classroom, and in the community. And those are the things that we talk about as a university, as an athletic program, are the 3 C's, which is the classroom, the competition, and the community. And we do those things and we take them serious. We led the Southland Conference this year in community service hours by our football program. We're excited about that. Our entire athletic program led the Southland Conference in community service hours. We serve our community. To be a good leader, whether you're on the football team, whether you're the quarterback or defensive end like our 2 guys that we brought here today, those guys have to be great servant leaders. And that's what we have to do, and that's what I have to do as the head football coach. And we do that. We commit and we communicate and we stay in contact with our community. In the classroom, our GPA has risen since I've gotten there. Our APR this year was at 975, which we'll release pretty soon, which is the highest it's been in 6 years. So we're excited about that and where we're going in the classroom, in the classroom portion. The competition part, we want to continue to compete on the field. We want to continue to win. We want to win and take this thing to a different level. We want to win the conference championship. We have a vision to do that, and we're working towards that. This spring was good. The competition was there on the field between our guys. This summer's been really good. I think the workouts have been good. They've been competitive, and we'll carry those into fall camp. That's important for us. As you look across, and I'm going to say this with all humbleness, that I think we can win every game in our conference schedule this year. I'm going to say it again. We can win every game on our conference schedule this year. Now, with that being said, I'm going to also say this. We can lose every game on our conference schedule this year. That's what this conference is about. You got to wake up every day. That's what Tom Burnett and the Southland Conference, through decades of getting this thing ready, that each week we've got a great atmosphere for our college football teams. These games are competitive. They've got great coaches who are even better men. If you know any of them, you'll know that. They're great coaches. Our players are good. We got quality players, and we got great family atmosphere at all the venues that we played at. I'll get a chance to visit some other venues this year that I didn't get a chance to visit last year, and I'm looking forward to it. But the ones that I did get a chance to go to, the atmosphere is fantastic. And for people not to be able to experience that, you're missing out. I believe me when I tell you, on the Southland Conference and the ability to go watch these guys play. So there's a lot of good things that are going on in this conference, and a lot of good things that we want to experience and take a good look at. I want to be able to, with us, is to build a culture, is to take the guys that we have and continue to build the culture. A culture is built from the inside out, inside the locker room to out. It's not me. It's about our players. It's about the leaders that we have on our football team. Isaac and Chasen are 2 of the guys that came with us today because they represent who we are on the field, off the field, in the classroom. They provided the leadership. They've taken the reins of our football team and they're pushing it forward. They're getting behind and pushing it, not standing out in front and telling everybody to come on. They're getting behind and pushing and encouraging. And it's pretty cool to watch guys grow. You know, when you recruit, I've been doing this for a long time. When you recruit guys and you get them in as an 18-year-old and you watch them grow and mature up to a 20, 21, 22-year-old man, you see those changes take place in those guys. And when you see that much change takes place, you know good things are happening around them. They're influencing others. And that's what I think that's the foundation that we've been lacking. that we're starting to gain. We're starting to gain traction on that, where those guys are being able to influence others to raise their level of awareness, whether it be on the field, in the classroom, or in the community. It's important for us. You know, when we talk about the things that we talk about those things that, and it's pure, we talk about those things of love and trust, that we look at each other and say, we generally have to say we love each other because we have to trust each other. Because there's times on the football field when you look over there, you got to know that that guy's got your back, and you have his. It's not a one-way street. So when guys point fingers and make excuses, those things are not taking place in your locker room. Our season last year was up and down. Played really well, played really poorly. That's not a reflection of a good football team. That's a reflection of something that's going on. When teams have highs and lows, that the valleys are too deep and the highs are too high, those are teams that are not reflective of what you actually want. What you actually want is a team that's steady, that continues to progress throughout the season and get better as the season goes on. There's a lot of statistics we can go to. Probably turnover margin's the biggest one. Obviously points scored is number one, but turnover margin's the biggest one. But there's a lot of things that you can point to. But as a coach, you know in your locker room the issues that you have, where you need to go, how do you need to address them, and what you need to do. And building that culture with the right players and the right people is what it takes. But the leadership comes from inside out. I think that Chase and Virgil has done a great job. He's a leader for us. And he's taken that role. He's embraced it. He's done some things on our field this spring and this summer that propels him to the forefront, and he shuns it. And you'll see that when you talk to him today. That's not what he wants to do. He doesn't want to be in the spotlight. He'd rather shove his teammates into that arena. Same thing with Isaac. So I'm excited about these two guys here, as I am the rest of the team. I'll talk a little bit about our football program from the personnel standpoint. We got a lot of guys coming back. We're having to replace a lot of guys. We've got a big senior class, a lot of whom have not played much before. I think our quarterback position with Chasen is solid. Feel real comfortable about that. Our offensive line, although not deep, we feel good about those guys being able to run the football and throw the football. Our tight end position is really strong. Branson Schwabel comes back there, an all-conference player, and we're really excited about him. Our receivers, I think we're not deep, but I think we got some good players there. We got some impact players. Juwan Petit-Ferrer is a two-time All-American, and he returns. C.J. Turner, Lorenzo Nunez, and Austin Mitchell are four guys that we feel like pretty comfortable we can put out on the field anytime. Our running back position with Devontae Williams and Marcus Cooper, both of them are solid players and really had good springs. And looking forward to see what they're going to do this fall. On the defensive side of the ball, everything's up for competition, man. Everything. I think the safety position, the linebackers, and defensive tackles, the heart of our defense, right through the middle, there's a lot of people fighting for those spots. So we're looking forward to seeing where those guys are going to come from. And then out on the edge, obviously we got Isaac at one end. He's going to be the outside back or the defensive end on that side. And then our cornerback positions are two guys, Dejon Lynch and Philando Jordan, who took over the starting jobs last year and really had a good spring and summer so far. So looking forward to them competing in camp. So that's our roster. Our staff, which I'm really excited about, Greg Stevens returns as our offensive coordinator, and that's going to allow us to have continuity on offense. On defense, I'm so excited. You can't imagine. Lance Guidry, who stood up here in front of you guys last year as head coach of McNeese, is our defensive coordinator. And we're excited to have him. He has brought, if you guys have been involved, and most of you have, in the Southland Conference for years, you know what kind of person he is, you know how much energy he brings to the game, and what he does for us. So he's made McNeese into a defensive powerhouse, and we expect him to do the same thing with us. I'm not putting a lot of pressure on him. That's just who he is. He is going to bring a lot of energy to our defense in a new scheme. So it's pretty interesting to see how he's going to do that thing. I also want to thank one other person, which no coach before me stood up here and thanked him, and anybody that thanks him afterwards is just copying me, and that's the head of officials, Byron Boston. I want to thank you, Byron. Appreciate everything you do. And as long as I don't get a penalty flag anytime soon. But I want to thank you for everything that you do for us. So with that, Randy, I'll take any questions that you guys got. Everything's open for business.
All right, so if you have a question, raise your hand, state your name and affiliation, and we'll get a few questions in before we get it over to Carly. Let's start left side right over here.
Coach, Matt Matt Fay, Bowman Enterprise newspaper. You guys opened up the Southland Conference schedule against Lamar. You played a pretty competitive game against them last year. Last year, did you know right away that that was a different Lamar team, and thoughts on the opener this year?
Yeah, you know, when we ended up winning last year in Beaumont, and they got on the run. I think it was a 6-game run into the playoffs. I hope the same thing happens. I hope we win it and they win the rest of their games all the way through the rest of the season. So I'm okay with that. But I think what you're seeing is Mike Schultz in his 3rd year you're starting to see the things start to happen that he believes in and what he wants to do. He had a huge mountain to overcome there at Lamar, and he's done that. And he's putting the pieces in place and putting his stamp on the program. So obviously that's our first, it's a conference game. We open up the conference with those guys. They've been in the playoffs this past year. They're going to have a good football team coming in. They'll be ready to play. We'll be ready to play. So great matchup for us.
Question right here, second row.
Robert Kelly, Techsport Publications. Coach, you said your defense is a work in progress. Everything's up for grabs. What do you see as the biggest obstacles they're going to have to overcome to get in that starting 11?
You know, once we get past Isaac, it's guys have got to grasp and embrace what we're doing, which they are. I think what you're seeing is Lance Guidry grabbing those guys' attention and saying, this is how we're going to play. This is the demeanor that we're going to play with. So when you look at that, now we want to get those 11 guys around there that actually exhibit those traits that he wants. And that's coming. Now, where it's going to come from, is there 11? No, it might be 20. But we got to get as many guys as we can from a depth standpoint. We had a huge freshman class that we signed. So there's going to be some of those freshmen. We don't know who they're going to be yet, but there's going to be some of those freshmen that are going to step into backup and possible starting roles. We'll just see how it goes. But that's going to be the main thing, is to get those guys going in that direction he wants them to. Lance's history in the Southland Conference has been, from a defensive standpoint, is probably as good as anybody's that's ever been in the history of this conference.
Left side.
Hey, Coach. Robert Kraus, RCFB. Following up on your younger guys, who are some of the newcomers you're excited about this year?
You know, it's hard for me to tell you that. I can tell you our recruiting class, those 21 guys, we're not sure which ones are going to bounce back. Some guys have had a great summer, but when we put on the pads, we're waiting to see which ones are going to step forward. So, and then we got them in all positions: offensive line, running back, receiver, defensive line, linebacker, in the secondary. So I would expect somebody on defense probably to step up a little bit quicker than maybe somebody on offense, just from the standpoint of guys being able to play more aggressive and free. But to single somebody out, I probably couldn't do it right now.
Coach Mike Guggenheimer, Home Courier.
Right.
You talked about those ups and downs last year. What's the biggest lesson you personally learned going from year 1 to now year 2?
You know, I think when you go into a new place and you're looking to make some changes in that place, and it's not that things were done wrong before, they were just done differently, that you go in there to make those changes, that you got to make sure that you have the right personnel with you to do that. And I think at times maybe we didn't have the right personnel in the right spots, whether it be a player or a coach or whatever it was. I just didn't do a good enough job, and it all falls back on me. I didn't do a good enough job from an evaluation standpoint, from that standpoint. So we've done a much better job going back and correcting those things. We can't wake up on the first game and play Monroe and play as well as we did and almost win that game, to McNeese and then really playing well against those guys and winning, to playing such a poor game against Nichols at the end of the season. Even though you look at such a good football team, they won the conference, but they're not that much better than us. And so there's something else lacking. It's not football ability. It's the culture. It's the leadership on our football team. It's the desire of those guys to go out and protect each other.
Second row, left side.
David Berry, Lake Charles American Press. In addition to Coach Guidry, he also got Kerry Joseph, another former McNeese player and coach. What's he been like? How's that been since you hired him, and how's that been on and off the field?
Yeah, first off, Kerry's from New Iberia, Louisiana, which is where I'm from, New Iberia, Louisiana, so you can't be wrong there. He's got to be great about that part. The second thing is, I think what Kerry brings to the table for us is more than football. Kerry's such a quality individual. He's a good football coach. He's got a great history of playing the game. He just got inducted into the Hall of Fame in Saskatchewan. But more than anything else, as a person, I think that's what he does for us, brings some stability into that room, but also everywhere on our football team. We've got him in charge of some stuff, put him in there in some areas where we feel like he can impact the players from a personal standpoint. So getting him was a huge plus for us.
Any other questions right now? We got one in the back. I see.
I see Morrell, Port Arthur News. You start the season, if I'm looking at it correct, against Jacksonville State. What are your thoughts about kicking that one off against a national contender?
Yeah, you know, you're looking at a team like that coming in early, and let's find out who we are. Let's find out who we are, what we lack, what we need to do, the corrections we need to make. Go through that process, and we got a chance to go back and evaluate what we thought was the right thing to do, which there'll be some things that we did well, and then correct the things that we didn't do so well. But I think anytime you go play somebody who is a challenge like they are, I think it's a plus. I want to go out and play those guys because we want to get where they are. We want to be in the national playoffs every year. We want to be at the top of our conference, playing for the conference championship every year. We don't want to be eliminated in week 7, 8, 9, and 10. We want, at the end of the season, we want to be in that conversation all the way through. So I think for us, being able to see where those guys are and have been is a great measuring stick for us.
All right, one more question before you toss over to Carly.
One more thing, though, Randy. You know what? The only person that I forgot to thank, and I should thank, and this is going to sound kind of, but I want to thank my wife, Holly, through what we celebrated 34 seasons last weekend. So that's pretty cool. We kind of do it in seasons. It works good for me, and she's okay with it. So I want to thank her also.
All right, very good. Real quick question. Reading the notes going into the season, you're getting Marcus Cooper back as well, injured from 2017 and all-conference guy. What's it mean to kind of bolster that running attack?
Yeah, last year he wasn't quite healthy yet, so we had to, he struggled coming back with the ACL injury and things like that. He's had a great offseason. This spring he was healthy. We saw the explosiveness that he exhibited a year earlier in 17 that we didn't see in 18. So this spring was there. He's had a really good summer for us, and we feel like he's turned the corner physically. So looking forward to him. Yeah.
Very good. All right, we're going to hear from the Alliance players right now. They're just to the left of Coach, and we'll toss it over to Carly McCord right now with more on that. Hey, Carly.
Thank you, Randy. Joined by two outstanding student athletes from Southeastern Louisiana University. We would like to welcome quarterback Chasen Virgil, as well as defensive lineman Isaac Adeyemi Berglund. First of all, congratulations on being seniors. I know that's exciting going into your fourth year, or fourth season, as Coach Telfo would say. Obviously, that's probably better for you all to measure time with. What is different about this season opposed to all the other seasons that you've entered going into playing football?
I'd say just about this season is kind of our mindset. We've attacked it. We're treating the summer like a chess game. We're making all the right moves every day. Everybody's pushing each other, and the leadership is coming from the inside out. I think it was kind of like an addition by subtraction. A lot of guys are going to have to step up, but I believe they're stepping up in the right ways. And, yeah, so we're just excited about the season.
Just to piggyback off what Isaac said, really just us being older guys now. Going into seasons before, we were the younger guys, and there was always leadership before us, but now we're the ones that have to take over and lead the younger guys, and just being older and having the experience that we have going into our last year means a lot.
And you're entering your second season as a Lion. What's different about last season and this season? What did you learn in your first season with Southeastern?
Well, last year, like you said, it was my first year, and so I was really just getting to know the guys on the team and just getting comfortable with them. And first time playing in the Southland Conference, not really knowing what to expect, but going into my second year, I'm older. I'm comfortable with the team, able to lead the guys now. They have my back, and they know I got theirs. And so just being able to lead them going into the second year and having the experience of Southland and, just having more confidence.
And when you have the arm like you have and the ability to pass the ball as well as you do, how special and important is it to have a coach like Coach Selfo who's willing to utilize those strengths and do it properly, because that's what he's best at?
Oh, it means a lot to have a coach like Coach Selfo and Coach Stevens as well, just to have the trust in me to take care of the ball and be able to throw the ball around. And with our offense, we have a lot of good receivers like Coach Selfo mentioned earlier. And so, just to get the ball into their hands and let them make the plays for us and put us in position to win games, it makes my job a lot easier.
And Isaac, Coach Shelfo talked about the addition of Lance Guidry coming over from McNeese as the new defensive coordinator for you all. What has it been like studying under him so far, and what is his style like? Has it been easy to adapt to? I know he's a challenging coach in a good way.
Anybody that knows Coach Guidry knows he coaches with a fiery passion. He's intense, and I think that it's good because I think we have a lot of players, especially young guys, that have that intensity and that that passion and that will to just go out there and play as hard as they can. So with a coach like Lance Guidry that's going to come in and allow the players to kind of play with that unleashed anger and passion on the field, I think it's going to help us a lot.
And your story's a little different. You're originally from Nova Scotia. So what message do you want to send to maybe young children or youth or any adolescent out there watching, knowing that anything is possible no matter where you're from or what you did or what your upbringing was about?
Yeah, I'm from Nova Scotia, the East Coast Canada, so it's really far. And I guess I would just say to those guys, never give up. If I look back 3-4 years ago, I would never believe that I'd be here right now, especially, sitting with Chase and here at Media Day, in the FCS. And I would just tell him anything's possible. Just keep working, and, everything that's supposed to happen will happen. So.
Coach Shelfo also talked about how competitive this league is and how any given day of the week, any team can win because it's that good. Is that something that he instills into your minds every single day to make sure that that is reality for you all as a team?
Oh, definitely. And us as a team, we're very competitive. So we know every day we have to wake up and compete against each other. Like he said, every job on our team, we still competing for. And so we wake up every day with that competitive spirit, with that mindset that we got to go out there and compete. And that just helps us when it comes to game time. We know we can't take nobody lightly. We know we got to go out there and, give it our all.
And you're a selfless player when it comes to leading your team. You always want to make it about everyone, your supporting cast, everyone around you. It's never about just you. Is that just who you are? Is it who you are as an athlete, or both?
Yeah, it's just who I am. I've always been that way. And just playing quarterback, I kind of look at it like you're a point guard in basketball. You got to be able to set your guys up and get those guys the ball. And even though we might get the credit at the end of the day, they do all the work, So I don't like being the main person in the spotlight because I can't do nothing without my teammates. I can't do nothing without Isaac giving us the ball back, the O-line, blocking, running back, carrying the ball, or just the receivers getting open, making my job easier. So I don't like being in the spotlight like that, but so I let my teammates have all the shine.
Not sure if you knew, but the way football works is you got to do your job to get him on the field. So when you have a quarterback like Chasen, how much more does that motivate you to want to go out there and really do your job to get him back out on the field for you all?
Yeah, Chasen's a good guy, man. He's when he says it's all about the other players, it's true. And having that leadership and that selflessness on the offensive side of the ball, it gives the defense something to work for and, somebody to play for. And he's a great leader, so it just allows us to do our job that much better.
You're returning some good talent on offense. You're going to have Marcus Cooper back, running back, and then Juwan Petit-Frere. Talk about what they do for the offense, how they contribute, and how much of a more positive scheme it is when they're in the game.
Oh, when they're out there on the field, it makes everybody's job easier. Coach Stevens' job is a lot easier. And just for us, it's just a chess game. Who can we get the ball to? We know they all can make plays, at any given time. And so it's exciting going into the game plan and, just being like we have all these guys and just pick your poison. So it definitely makes our offense a lot more lethal.
And not just on the field, but off the field as well. What was the biggest focus this past spring to go into this season with a better approach?
I think our biggest focus this offseason was compete and trust each other. I know the coaches are in there every day with us as we're working out, encouraging us to compete with one another, just to push one another and increase the competition coming from the inside out. Not being motivated by, external factors, more intrinsically motivated for our guys. And I think that we trust each other, and through that, we're going to be more successful. So, yeah.
Well, guys, good luck to you this season. Thank you for your time. Randy, we'll go ahead and send it over to you.
All right, good conversation, and a couple of minutes left here with Coach Shelfo. Two of your leaders right there. I know you were listening to every word they were saying. It makes you feel good as a head coach, doesn't it?
Well, that's the reason they're here, Randy. These guys represent us. So what you see on the field this fall, you're seeing it right now. That'll translate over, and the results will come. We'll follow a process, and those results will come and the opportunity for them to get behind and push these guys forward. Like I said, the culture is going to be developed, grown, and it'll explode from the inside out.
All right, before we let you go, let's talk about the schedule for this season. Take a look at that here on the big screen as well. Again, you touched on it a little bit, opening with a good program like Jacksonville State. You got Bethune-Cookman at Ole Miss, and then you open 2 out of your first 3 in the conference with Lamar on September 21st.
Yeah, like I said, let's find out who we are early on. Bethune-Cookman was a team that came in a couple of years ago in 17 and beat us in Hammond. So we'll return the trip this year. And then we go to Ole Miss and out of the SEC. Obviously, what a challenge. And then Lamar comes in, a playoff team that has the ability to do all the things that they're able to do. They're on a hot streak right now, the way they played towards the end of last season, and now to build on that. So it'll be a great challenge for us there. And but we're at home, so it's a good thing for us.
All right, very good. That's a look at Southeastern. The Lions ready for a big 2019. Thanks to Coach Selfo and the players that are here from the Lions program here today.